Hello everybody, a Kinder Surprise is probably the most desirable sweet for any children that you can buy in the supermarket. Although I don't think that any adults would turn it down either. So let's open up the Kinder. In fact, it's just an egg made with chocolate. Rather, of two types, milk and white. And inside it has a yellow capsule that you can find a toy in when you open it. Maybe it just seems like it to me, but these toys were much more interesting in my childhood. Over the past 6 months, I've been thinking in detail about how to make a giant Kinder Surprise so that it turns out to be perfect, just like a factory-made one. And finally, I came up with it. Please give this video your likes in advance, and now let's start. Have you ever wondered how chocolate was made? There are whole plantations where cocoa fruits are grown. We bought 4 of these ripe fruits. They are very large and cumbersome. We break it into 2 parts, and we see the white seeds inside. These are ripe cocoa beans, but to turn them into chocolate, they need to be processed for a long time. We transfer them to a wooden barrel, and cover them with saran wrap. The beans will be in this barrel for 7 days and fermented. Well, it's time to retrieve them. Excellent. Our cocoa beans have been fermented and smell pleasantly like vinegar. We take a dryer like this and put all our beans in it. We set it to 40 degrees and turn it on. That way they continue drying for another 7 days. A week has passed and the cocoa beans are dehydrated. But to make a giant Kinder, this is definitely not enough. So I bought some more dry cocoa beans. They look exactly like ours. These beans are raw, so we go outside and pour 2 bags of beans into the cauldron. We still need to chop wood. Let's open the stove and put some crumpled paper and small firewood into it. Kindle the fire. When it is flared up, we begin to mix the cocoa beans. That way they fry more evenly. After about 10 minutes of roasting, they begin to smell very tasty. Therefore, about 5 more minutes and you can check. The husks should easily come off the roasted cocoa beans. We remove them from the fire. The roasting stage has been passed. Now we take another bowl. We remove the shell from each cocoa bean. We break the core and transfer to the second bowl. We get these kind of cocoa nibs. We use this as the main raw material for making milk chocolate. We also bought a box like this. We open it, and inside we see a lot of cocoa butter. It looks and feels like an all-in-one laundry soap. So that it can be quickly melted later, we set it up with a knife. This is a very sticky process. Two hours later, we got a whole basin of finely crushed cocoa butter. In order to properly make chocolate, you need a machine called a mélanger. In fact, this is an electric mill with such stone millstones. We grind cocoa nibs, milk powder, sugar, and cocoa butter into it. We collect 1 kilogram of cocoa nibs and pour it into the mélanger. A full glass of powdered milk, a glass of sugar, and turn it on. All the ingredients are mixed and gradually ground into a more delicate powder. Add some cocoa butter. It will gradually warm up from friction and the mass will become. And now it just takes time. The grains will become smaller and smaller. In the meantime, let's turn on another machine called Marmite. It will heat the chocolate so that it remains a liquid. Fill it with water up to the maximum. We set it on 2 and turn it on. 2 hours have passed. The chocolate has become even thinner. To make it taste familiar to us, we add vanilla extract. And in factory chocolate, a powder called soy lecithin is used. We need to add quite a lot of it. It is completely harmless, and it is only made to use to make the chocolate more liquidy. The chocolate has been 3 hours in the melanger. We turn it off, and we pour it into the gastric capacity. The first portion of natural milk chocolate is ready. We put the tray into the Marmite so that the chocolate doesn't freeze. Now we load the next batch. This time, for the melanger to grind the cocoa nibs faster, we pour it in gradually. Then gradually pour in cocoa butter. When the mass has become a liquid, gradually add sugar, milk powder, and other additives. We wait another 2.5 hours and pour the chocolate into our tray. And for the third time, we add more powdered milk and 4 hours of stirring. It turned out very nice, perfectly glossy milk chocolate. We also transfuse it. It took us 2 days to fill the tray to the brim. We mix all of these things together, and we're done. The next stage is tempering. You may ask, why is this necessary? I'll show you an example of 2 tiles. We filled one with melted chocolate, and the second with tempered. After solidification, we take them out. And the one that is just melted melts very quickly, remaining in your hands. But the tempered chocolate is glossy. To it, cocoa butter crystals are combined into a strong crystal lattice. Therefore, when you break it, there's a crunch. In order to temper a large volume of chocolate, we increase the heating. And constantly stirring, we heat the chocolate to 45 degrees. We get the tray out, and let's go outside. We put it onto a cold tile. Constantly stirring, literally in 15 minutes the chocolate should cool down to exactly 25 degrees. That said, we return the chocolate back to the heat and heat it up to 31 degrees. This is the end of tempering. We will pour chocolate into such large egg halves. I ordered these forms 6 months ago at a factory in America, and now they have arrived. These forms cost 20,000 hryvnias, or 54,000 rubles. So we open the alcohol, pour it into the mold, and rub it around with a napkin. So that way it'll be perfectly clean and the chocolate will shine. Done. Now we send the forms to the freezer for 1 hour. They should be cool completely. Now that the molds are icy, we scoop up the chocolate, pour it into the mold, and distribute evenly. The chocolate seizes instantly. Fill it as evenly as possible so that there are even walls of the same thickness everywhere. We drain the excess chocolate back in. One more time, we put it into the freezer. And we fill in the forms again. And one more go around. The forms are always very heavy and you can't twist them in your hands, therefore we pour the chocolate along the walls and smear it around with a spatula. That way we filled up all the milk chocolate. But there is also a white one in Kinder, so let's do that. We need cocoa butter, milk powder, sugar, and soy lecithin, and of course a melanger. We collect a full measuring cup of cocoa butter. We turn on the melanger and begin to pour in very gradually. There is literally 1/3 of a teaspoon of soy lecithin. We collect 700 grams of sugar and gradually pour it in. Well, we've got a full measuring cup of powdered milk. And now it just takes time. Grains of powdered milk and sugar will decrease and interfere with the butter. The correct consistency will be happening in 2 hours later. Pour our homemade white chocolate into the Marmite. We cooked white chocolate for 15 hours. And we also temper it. And we also pour that into the mold the same way. It's smeared around with a spatula. We poured white chocolate in one very long approach. While you were smearing one form, the second one has time to freeze, so you can change them around like that. Now the chocolate egg halves are ready. Let's make an integral part of the Kinder Surprise, namely the yellow capsule. To do this, we bought a plastic barrel for 20 liters. We bend the fastenings for the handle and remove them. The barrel is shaped like a capsule, but not in color. Therefore, we unscrew it from the lid and take it to a safe place for painting. Shake the cans with spray paint and cover the barrel with yellow. We completely painted it in 3 approaches. Now we've got a big yellow capsule like that. In my opinion, it kind of looks like the original. What kind of gift will we put inside? I thought everything out in advance and I bought a big Bluetooth speaker on the internet. We open it up and put it inside, as well as wires and instructions. That's it, you can close it. We put our surprise in one of the Kinder halves. We take out the second one. Perfect. At first, we just melted the edge of the chocolate with a burner and tried to install the second half of the egg on top. But they did not dock, and there were very large gaps. Therefore, we take out the other half. With a knife, we cut off the uneven edge. And try it again. This way it worked out more or less pretty smooth. And to glue these 2 halves together, we pass the white chocolate along the joint. Now our Kinder is ready. But what kind of Kinder would it be without colorful packaging? To make that, we take the molds again and line the foil on top of them, gluing each layer with double-sided tape. Next, you need acrylic paints, rollers, brushes, and pencils. First, you need to make a red and white background. And then we apply multicolored inscriptions. In my opinion, it turned out really nice. So we put the lower part of the wrapper on the floor. Carefully lower our Kinder into it. And together with the foil, we lift it back up. We put the other half of the package on top. We connect the planes and fix it with a stapler. With scissors, cut off the excess foil. And gently bend the edge. Now we just have to paint the gaps. And this giant Kinder Surprise is completely ready. It turns out very nice and beautiful. This time we repeated it almost one-on-one. Taking into account the forms, the machine for making chocolate and products, it cost us 50,000 hryvnias. This is 136,000 rubles, and it took us 5 days to prepare it. So answer me one question. Who will experience the most joy when they see this huge Kinder? Of course it is children. Therefore, we mask it with a golden cloth, load it into the car, and take it to the mother and child's house. The children were very happy and just tore up at this Kinder Surprise. By the way, apparently they were also really happy with the surprise. Hey everybody, I think many people know sweets like Ferrero Rocher. We decided to make one such candy, but of gigantic size. Let's see what's inside it first. It has chocolate with nuts on the outside, then a crispy layer, chocolate paste and hazelnuts. Everything's clear. To begin with, we will buy the groceries we need. We bought milk chocolate, a lot of sugar, 2 boxes of cocoa powder, 2 boxes of butter, 5 kilograms each. We don't need anything else in the store, so we go to the checkout. Our check came out to $190. We also bought a bag of crispy rice, 10 kilograms of peanuts, and a bag of hazelnuts to order. All this cost around $136. We decided to use such large iron cauldrons as molds. For convenience, we bend the fasteners and remove the handles. We turn the cauldrons over, wrap them with cling film. To make a crispy layer, we'll use the rice. It's as crispy as possible. To get that to stick together, we'll make a caramel. We send half a can of corn syrup into a saucepan, 6 kilograms of sugar. We put that on the stove. Be sure to use a candy thermometer. The temperature needs to reach 146 degrees. Pour out the airy rice and mix that into the caramel. We'll pour this whole mass on top of the mold and try to stick it to the whole cauldron. This is where it all went wrong. The caramel cooled down really quickly and is falling apart, and it doesn't hold its shape at all. And so this is difficult to call these cauldrons normal forms. We decided to redo everything. We ordered acrylic semicircles. We opened them up. And take them out. I think that this is perfect. So to keep everything from sticking to the molds, we spray with oil from a can onto the inner walls of the circle. This time, to get the rice to stick, we'll use marshmallows. We put 2 packs in a bowl and put that into the microwave. They melted down pretty well. It turns out the consistency of an elastic cream. We put the air rice in the same bowl. Combine all this with a spatula. We're left with a viscous mass, and I think we'll be fine with it. Spray some oil onto your gloves so that the marshmallow doesn't stick. And send this mass into the bowl. Now distribute it all around the form. And we continue to do this until we cover the inner walls completely. Done. The next stage is the chocolate paste inside. We take 2 boxes of butter, take them out, and put 2 sticks into a saucepan. We put it on the stove so that it melts. And done. Now we need a lot of condensed milk. This one we have left after the last video. We need peanuts and cocoa, Put the blender bowl on the scales and put 300 grams of peanuts into it. 2 tablespoons of cocoa. We open 2 cans of condensed milk. And pour those in as well. And last but not least, 200 grams of butter. Cover that with a lid and put it into the blender and turn it on. We grind this until we get a homogeneous mass. The consistency of the paste, like Nutella, is quite dense. Using a spatula, we shift the paste into the bowl. We keep repeating this from time to time. And after about 6 hours of work, the condensed milk, butter, and almost all the nuts are finished. And the forms are even less than half full. I had to buy all the groceries again. We continue making the chocolate paste. Now, once the forms are completely filled, it took 8 hours. And finally, this stage is finished. The next layer is the whole nut. We need to make 2 huge halves of hazelnuts. We'll use a lot of this nut. Now, the hazelnuts are raw and don't really smell. To fix this, pour it into 2 baking sheets. And pop them in the oven. Let them warm up for 20 minutes to release their fragrance. To hold the nuts together, we'll cook another caramel. The composition is exactly the same. Corn syrup, a packet of sugar, and water. Pop all that on the stove, and be sure to use a candy thermometer. As soon as it's 145 degrees, we take out the finished nuts and put them into the saucepan. Mix them well with the caramel. We move this over to a bowl, which is the same shape as our hemisphere. Done. As soon as the caramel is hardened, we remove the bowl and tear off the parchment paper. We're left with a perfect half of a huge nut, or rather 2. Just put them in the middle of the mold into the chocolate paste. We spread the paste with a spatula so that there's a layer of the same height everywhere. Now this candy is very soft, and if you take it out of the mold, it'll just fall apart. So we send these semicircles into the freezer. That's where they're cooled down, and the chocolate filling will become dense. 2 days later, and the candy is completely cooled. Before you get to it, you need to prepare a lot of things. First, make the packaging. We bought this kind of packaging gold paper. To repeat the design, we crush it with our hands. Then we straighten it back. We unwind the double-sided tape and glue on another sheet. We have 6 in total, and we want to combine them into a huge one. Done. This second stage. For our future outer layer, you need to add nuts. Everything is simple. Put them into a blender and crush until you get like an average fraction. Pour that into another bowl. The third preparatory stage. We take a chocolate bar, open it, and break it. We fill the whole bowl with these pieces. Now we'll melt this in a steam bath. It decreases in volume, so we break more. And that's it. We have a bowl of hot chocolate. Now for last, make some more chocolate paste in order to glue the halves together. We need to wrap the table well with cling wrap. Finally, you can bring the chilled halves back for the candy. We cut off the protruding air rise. Turn the form over. That's one half. Now for the second one. Thank God everything went well and nothing cracked. Spread all this over with a layer of chocolate. The easiest way is to pour the chocolate directly from the layer and spill it with a spatula. Now sprinkle the crushed nuts on top until they stick to the whole candy. And we put another layer of chocolate on top of that. We mix it with the nuts directly with a spatula so that it looks just like the original. Done. It turned out perfectly. And we repeat all this for the second half. As soon as the chocolate is frozen, we cut the food film off and put one half onto a board. Remove the cling wrap and apply the chocolate paste to glue the candy halves together. We put the second one on top. Everything is almost ready, and I feel like this is just as similar as possible to the original small version. So let's seal it. Due to the fact that this is paper, not foil, it turned out not very smoothly, and so the final touch is the sticker. Finally, after 4 days of hard work, our giant Ferrero Rocher candy weighing 100 kilograms is ready. I feel like it turned out really well. I calculated its cost. Taking into account of all the additional purchases, it turned out to be $940. Let's cut off a piece. And let's try it. Oh, that is good. It really reminds me of the original taste of the candy. By the way, I have a deal for you. If this video gets 200,000 likes within 3 days, then we'll do another super large scale video that will be released on the weekend. I know that this will happen, you guys. I highly recommend that you do this. Who cares where we put this candy? We're just gonna use the machete to cut it into pieces. After that, we wrap it with cling wrap. And in this form, we'll send it to the people that helped us make it, as well as our relatives. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and click on this playlist. There are so many more videos with giant food. See you guys.